Hey, it's Tim.
And it's Amy from GoWithLess. We're really glad you're here with us today. It's the second Wednesday of the month, and what that means, it's time to share all of our spending from last month with you. And we have 3 fun, fabulous Frugal Finds that we're going to include at the end of the video. So here we are talking about our spending in June. And just a little bit, we were half in Middle Tennessee in June and half in Asheville, North Carolina, the second half of June, where we still are here for the whole month of July.
So before we get going, just a few things about us. In 2015, we retired in our late 40s. And in 2020, we sold our home and became full-time nomads. So we were traveling 100% of the time. And so that's a little inauspicious in this time of COVID. So I always mention that in our videos when we put that out there. Also, something that's important to note is that we try to spend about $3,000 a month. That is our target number. It's not necessarily indicative of anything. It's not indicative of the 3% rule or the 4% rule, which we'll throw up a video at the end of this that talks about what that is if you don't happen to know what the 3% or 4% rule is. But we are targeting about that amount of spending. Also, when Amy mentioned that we're half the month in a house sit and half the month in an Airbnb, that has some bearing on our spending as we dig into this, because at a house sit we're typically not paying anything for lodging, and at an Airbnb we typically are. Well, the nice thing about our numbers this month is we had no lodging expenses because last month we actually paid for the Airbnb we are in this month.
That's right. But we still spent a lot of money considering that we didn't have any lodging. But we are here in the United States, which is very expensive. When we planned a $3,000 monthly budget, that was to be house sitting almost all of the time and often in less expensive countries or cities. So it wasn't to be paying for Airbnbs in the United States, because that is a very hard number to hit when it includes your health insurance and a car and all that stuff. So let's get right into it.
So our total for the month of June was $2,571. So overall, that's great because we're under $3,000, but it's a lot of money considering we paid nothing for lodging this month. So we were sort of surprised by the fact that we came in at this high of a number for this month. So our largest expense for the month of June is going to be food, which was $648. And so we're going to break that down a little further in that we spent $328 on groceries, and I'm looking at a list down here, and $320 on dining. And so both of those numbers for us are higher than traditional numbers, and I think that's largely driven by the fact that we ate out a little bit more, trying to support local restaurants in this time of COVID, and we tip a lot more than we would traditionally tip, just to try and do what we can to help businesses survive in this particular moment.
That's right. Category number 2 is going to be health and fitness, and that is $603. $349 of that is for Liberty Health Shares. That's our health insurance-ish. I'm going to put up a video about that. If you haven't checked that out yet, you should. And every year we have $75 as just an annual, I don't even know, some renewal fee, $75 for that plan. So there's $75 in that. Also in that is $145. I have all these notes down here with numbers. $145 for a visit I paid to a dentist. I had my very first cavity back in mid-March, and here it is in mid-June.
And when
it
Amy
still
says
hurts.
Very first, this is her first cavity in her entire lifetime, which is sort of phenomenal to me anyway.
My dentist at home said that I was maybe going to die without a cavity. So here I go to a dentist and I get a cavity. And it turns out that it was a legit cavity. I sent my x-rays to a professional dental radiologist, and she agreed that I did need a filling. So, but it still hurt 3 months later. So the dental friend and her dental surgeon husband had suggested I go visit a local dentist to check it out. Thankfully, nothing was really wrong. It's just that I have really, really sensitive teeth. And unfortunately, that still hurts, but at least it's nothing bigger. But it was $145 at the dentist.
And one quick thing before Amy moves on from this health category is going to be, we spent $20 on a COVID test, so an antibody test. So some of our viewers has suggested, many of our viewers seem to have suggested that because we were so sick in January, February, March, that potentially we had COVID back then. We did this antibody test, and we still don't know, but it came back negative. We spent $20 at LabCorp to have this test conducted, $10 each. So it's a blood draw, and so we went to LabCorp, and no, we apparently did not have COVID back in the earlier part of the year.
Actually, we don't know.
We don't know. So So there's
we don't know.
Right, we've heard some things that suggested that even if you have the antibody test, there's some chance you have it, but the antibodies ultimately leave your system, and that you could potentially get COVID again. But we don't have any COVID antibodies per the test that we took from LabCorp.
So we will never know. So all the viewers who ask COVID, we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 is auto and transport. We kept our car. We were supposed to sell our car back in May. Thank goodness that we didn't, because we are driving it everywhere, not only from place to place, but we need it here in the United States where we haven't been in real urban places. But it was $356, and we had more gas because we are first of all, we drove from Tennessee to North Carolina. We are also driving around seeing the sights, and Tennessee had a lot of beautiful nature drives. Asheville, North Carolina does as well. So we have a lot of just gas, but then there were some outliers.
So I'm going to talk about these outliers. So we spent about $150 roughly back in Tennessee on fixing our tire. We had a slow leak. We had something in the tire. We also got the tires balanced because we were having some weird shaking in the car, and we got an oil change. So we spent about $150, and that's give or take $20 back in Tennessee. And then our battery died here. It actually had died back in New Orleans. We had a weird situation there, and then officially it died here in North Carolina. So I went ahead and went to Walmart and replaced the battery, and that was about $100 roughly to replace the battery. So we had a lot of car expenses this month that we weren't necessarily expecting, but whatever, it happens.
Miscellaneous was $310. There are, let's see, gifts and charity, $170 in there. And I think there were other, like the tips and everything, they don't come in gifts and charity. This is just flat out gifts and charity. You got a haircut.
I got a haircut for $30. So actually I got a haircut for 15. I think it might have even been like $12. And then I tipped. So we, I think another 15 or 17 bucks or 18, whatever, for the haircut. So my haircut for the month was $30, and this was the first haircut I had had since we were in California, which was over 6 weeks ago. And so
6 weeks ago?
I don't know, it was a long time ago. So I was thrilled to have this haircut. I wore a mask. The people that cut my hair wore a mask. There weren't very many people in. We went in the middle of the day. So we're trying to do the right things, but I needed a haircut. Here's the cool thing. Back in Colorado, we have clippers, and so Amy is going to start cutting my hair.
Oh.
We will be there in roughly a month, and so we can grab our clippers, and we'll see how that turns out.
I don't know.
So we will share that with you in terms of what my hair looks like after Amy cuts it here in a month.
Oh, we had a $95 annual credit card renewal fee. And normally if a credit card is a hotel credit card, we put it in our accommodations, our home. If it's a flights and points and miles, we put it in our transportation. Well, this was a Chase Ultimate Rewards sort of a card, so we don't know what we'll use it for. Because of that, we put the card renewal fee in miscellaneous.
Yeah, and so we hate that so much is in this miscellaneous category. So
Yeah.
it's just this bucket of weirdness. And so the fact that this is so high up on our list, we don't like that. So traditionally, you're not going to see miscellaneous so high on our list, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Amy loves it when I say that. And then our fifth largest category this month is going to be.
We have so many notes, I can't even keep them straight.
It's going to be entertainment. We spent $265 on entertainment this month, which again is a really large expense for us when it comes to entertainment. We went crazy.
Okay, so many of our viewers, they ask us about COVID, they suggest that we get an RV or a home, and they tell us that we had to go to the Biltmore if we were here in Asheville. But the Biltmore is $69 per person for the day plus tax. So for the two of us to go visit the Biltmore, it was going to cost us about $150, and
For
we
a
have
day,
been for
one
the day, and we had been talking, and it rains here every day. So there's some chance that we would have had to leave in the middle of the day because of thunderstorms. So we have been talking about it between the two of us for weeks. Like, are we going to go do this? Because it's a lot of money. Well, it turns out that now we're annual members.
Well, so we started out
Biltmore.
so we went from we are not going to go because it's going to cost us $150 to go from one day until we are annual subscribers to go to the Biltmore. And so the how we justified that is the fact that if we went once, that did not make sense. We would not.
So now we are going
$150.
100 times.
So now we have to go as many times as we can possibly go. So they have 8,000 acres of land here at the Biltmore. And this is a funny story. So Amy suggested to me months ago that we kind of need to go see this place. It has like 7,500 rooms or something like this. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. So I repeated this story to people saying it has 7,500 rooms, this place, the Biltmore home, which is a giant home, the largest home in America, has 7,500 rooms. That is not correct. The Biltmore has about 250 rooms. It has about 35 bedrooms. So being the largest home in America, that is those numbers are impressive, but it does not have 7,500 rooms. It has 8,000 acres. So I think that's where the disconnect happened, is that 8,000 acres somehow translated into 7,500 rooms. No.
The crazy thing is that is for a family of 3 people. Now, they certainly had help, hire the servants and all their families and guests and things like that, but that is for a family of 3. So the Vanderbilts were never going with less.
Never. No.
Never going with less. But we've already gone maybe 2 times. We have plans to go with others. And it's funny because even though we have an annual membership, we're only here for 6 or 7 weeks. So we can't transfer that membership to local people. And we're just going to have to make sure that we go a lot.
Maybe we'll be back next year.
I don't know. I don't know. But we're staying a mile or 2 from the Biltmore, so like it's just really easy for us to go pop over. And it is really beautiful. So we are going to have to include them in a video for sure.
And not
when
only
we
the
talk
house,
about
the grounds are equally beautiful. As a matter of fact, I think that's probably where we will spend most of our time when we go back, is just to visit the grounds and the gardens and just to sort of hang out there and just chill and hike.
Yes. Okay, next is shopping, $199. Now, we did a video several months ago about downsizing and the craziness of getting rid of all of our stuff. And I talked about decision fatigue. So as we got toward the end, I couldn't really make another decision. It was so many decisions of getting rid of things. It was emotional decisions. And by the end, it was time to pack for our year-long out of the country road trip or whatever. It was time to pack for a really, really long time. Well, I had nothing left in me, and I packed 6 of the same thing for the summer. Basically, I packed 6 basically like short sleeve solid color t-shirts. I am so sick of those t-shirts. So we went, and I went to to 2 things. I went to a very upscale consignment shop, and we went to Goodwill. Goodwills are great if you go in a ritzy part of town. So we bought Tim bought a couple things. I bought maybe 5 or 6 tops and a dress. You see one of them here today. So, and also I got a whole bunch of sleeveless things. It's, even though we're trying to get to 75 degrees every day, it's still close to 90 degrees, which I guess is kind of, I don't know, it's like 85 degrees and humid, still needs sleeveless.
Yeah, and actually I bought like $6 knit shirts from Costco. So I went really upscale. So in my shopping adventures this month. So we did spend $199, like Amy said.
The $199 wasn't all on my clothes. It was like a whole bunch of stuff. My new clothing was $105 of that $199. So I still went a little crazy with $105, but it wasn't the whole $199. Okay.
So our next category is going to be home and lodging. So we had no expenses for lodging this month, but we did have some houseware stuff, and that was $157 that we spent in this category. So back in shopping, so if we buy something that sort of is for the home, whether it's measuring cups, that wouldn't be included in shopping, that would be included in home. So again, we spent $157 in this category. This also includes things like office supplies. So we spent $50 this month to up our shipping costs associated with getting our mail delivered from Texas to us here in North Carolina or wherever we are. So basically the way that works is we just reload our mail. We give them $50 and that'll cover us for the next 3 or 4 or 5 mailings that we receive.
At least.
Yep. So basically we reloaded our mailing for, that was about $50 of this, and then the $107 was for just miscellaneous.
Actually,
weird
$50 was for our storage back in Denver.
$50 was for our storage back in Denver. So not a ton of stuff that we purchased here, but none of it had to do with paying for a night where we were.
I'm going to wrap up the last 3 categories lickety split. $33 in utilities covered my cell phone for the month. That is with Google Fi. Here's a video all about that. And then $0 for taxes, $0 for our business expense. So what that brings us to again is $2,571 for the month. And for the first 6 months of the year, that brings us to $1,384. So that means that we are tracking at 97% of our annual budget so far, and we have $616 left in our cushion. Now, we're not planning to go below that. So our Biltmore was kind of our big extravagance, but we're not going to be blowing that $616 because we have car expenses, we have, I don't know, dental.
Yeah. We have lots of expenses.
All kinds of things come up. So it's just a good illustration of you don't need to spend your entire budget. Always have a buffer. Always have a buffer.
We have a little buffer, a little
buffer, 3%. Okay, we're now going to get into our fun and fabulous Frugal Finds, and we have 3 of them for you this month. You want to go? Actually,
I'll go first.
Can I tell? Can I read this? This is funny.
No,
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm on the couch. Tim screams out from the shower, "Amy, Amy!" I'm like, what? Like he said. I wrote this down as a quote. This soap smells amazing. I only want this soap in my life. I think Tim's having a heart attack in the shower, but he is just so excited about this very cheap soap that I had to write that quote down.
It's not very cheap. It's Yardley. I think these things,
it's
not super cheap. This is, I don't know, less than $2 for a bar. It's regularly on sale at Walgreens. So it smells like almonds. Here's the cool thing about it. It smells amazing. So when you're in the shower, you have this great almond smell. And then the nice thing is when you're out of the shower, you do not smell like almonds. It just goes away. So it's not like perfumey and this just follows you throughout the day. I do not like smells that are strong and that last and last and last. But this is just an amazing smell that's there when you're in the shower. You get out and it's gone. And there you have it.
It makes him so happy.
For less than $2, yeah.
Okay, I have 2 of them, and I think I always have more than Tim. Tim has a hard time finding his. I have no trouble. I don't know if you could see this. Not so well. It is savory spice. It's called Capitol Hill Seasoning. Now, there are many savory spice stores around the United States. You can also mail order. But this Capitol Hill Seasoning is, let's see, shallots, salt, pepper, dill, parsley, and chives. This stuff is the bomb in our homemade salad dressings, in our eggs. I sprinkle it on chicken. I kind of have it on everything, and it just zhuzhes it up. And it's not very expensive, and it doesn't look that much, but it kind of goes a long way. I wish that the camera was going to let you see it, but that is number 1 is this. Can you hold that, babe, please?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, number 2 are fresh herbs. I'm going to hold up fresh herbs. I have basil and dill here, and mint here, and cilantro here. Now, what do I do with all these herbs? First of all, I put them in my water. If you haven't had fresh mint or fresh basil in your water, whoa, does it make the most delicious tap water. So basil is my current favorite, and I am just loving it, and I'm getting more water because I love it. So I had feta with watermelon and fresh mint. Delicious. Basil and tomato and mozzarella for a nice caprese. And the dill I put in our eggs. I put in our salads. We make a lot of salads. We have salads almost every day. So big green salad. We put those herbs in the salad. And it's maybe all these herbs, the cilantro here. We just bought some dried beans today. So I'll make some rice and beans and do something fun with like salmon or something in that. And the cilantro will go a nice long way there. So not a lot of money for herbs. We buy them at farmers markets often because it seems to be fresher than what I'm getting in the grocery store. It's fresher, it's local, so we've been real happy with that. So those are the fun, fabulous Frugal Finds. It's a hard thing to say.
So we are really loving it here in Asheville. We've seen family, we've seen friends, we've seen viewers. It's all socially distanced, so no hugging for Amy. So it is interesting in this time of COVID to figure out how this all works. However, we are having an amazing time here in Asheville.
It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful place. It really, really is. So if you get a chance to come to Asheville, North Carolina, by all means, get here. So with that, also don't forget at the end of the video, we're going to put up this 4% rule so you'll know what that means if you don't happen to know what that means. So stay tuned for that.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
Adios.